Okay. So you know how sometimes it's like the stars align? And not just in like, a small way, but like the whole universe is saying, go team.
Yeah, like a whole mood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And recently, New Zealand, they had one of those, except like for sports.
Right. I saw that article with that crazy weekend.
Not just one game, not even just one sport, like everything. Sailing, football, cricket, you name it, chances are a Kiwi was on top of the podium.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like barely scraping by either. These were dominant, like, statement wins. The kind that makes everyone else sit up and go, hold on, what's in the water down there?
Right, so let's paint the scene, all right? Imagine it's a classic Kiwi weekend, sun's out, maybe a barbecue happening, but everyone's glued to their screens. Why? Because Team New Zealand, they're out there on the water making history in the America's Cup. Again.
Fifth win. That's almost unheard of.
I know, right? And it wasn't even close. They, like, obliterated Indios Britannia.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about that win, I think, is it's not just about being good sailors, which they are, obviously, but Team New Zealand, they're like the innovators, always pushing the limits of technology.
It's like Formula One, but on the water.
Exactly.
Okay, but hold on, because if you thought that was it over at, well, it used to be called Ericsson Stadium.
That's a Mount Smart Stadium.
Right. Sorry, force of habit. But yeah, over at Mount Smart, you've got Auckland FC making their debut in the A-League, 24,000 fans going absolutely bonkers, and they win it. 2-0 against the Brisbane Roar.
The energy was incredible. Even watching from home, you could feel it.
I bet. And Auckland's had a go at professional football before, but this feels different,
It does, doesn't it? Like, this could be the start of something big. That win, the fans, the whole vibe. It's exciting.
A real turning point, maybe. All right, hold on tight, because this is where it gets really good. While all of this is going on, the Black Caps are facing off against India.
In India.
Okay, now that's a challenge and a half, right? It's like the ultimate test in cricket. But the Black Caps, they pulled off an 8-wicket win.
Which, let's be honest, almost never happens.
Never. And it wasn't just that they won, it's how they won. India, they're known for their batting, right?
Yeah.
The Black Caps bowled them out for 46 runs in their first innings. 46.
That's insane. I looked it up. The last time a New Zealand test side won in India was back in '88.
Talk about making a statement. Okay, ready for another one?
Hit me.
The White Ferns, going into the T20 World Cup, 10-match losing streak. 10.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough.
I know, you're practically waving the white flag at that point. But then they turn it around like a switch flipped, and suddenly they're unstoppable.
The beauty of sport, right? When it mattered most, they found their form. And it wasn't just about winning, it was about defying expectations, inspiring a whole generation of young players.
And inspire they did. Crushed it in the final. 32 runs against South Africa. Storybook ending. But hey, it wasn't all underdog stories, right? We had some powerhouse performances too. Like, remember the Silver Ferns? They had a score to settle with Australia. They did not disappoint. 14 points against the reigning world champs. That's their biggest win against the Diamonds in over a decade.
Yeah, that's a statement right there. And it's not just the win, it's what it means. The Silver Ferns, they've had some tough times lately, rebuilding, trying to find their groove again. To beat Australia like that, especially by that margin, huge for their confidence.
Momentum's a real thing, that's for sure. Speaking of which, let's talk about a different kind of momentum, shall we?
Yeah.
It's a little less high pressure, a little more grassroots.
Yeah.
The Heartland Championship Finals.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets really good. For those not in the know, the Heartland Championship, it's like the heart and soul of New Zealand rugby. Small towns, passionate fans, pure love for the game.
It's practically its own sport, right?
Yeah.
You can practically smell the sausage sizzle through the TV. And this year's finals did not disappoint. Thames Valley taking the Meads Cup, 37-29 against Mid-Canterbury. Talk about a nail-biter.
Oh, man, and you can't forget King Country. Taking out the Lotcher Cup, 46-44 against West Coast, went into overtime. The drama.
I know, it's those close ones that really get the heart racing, right?
Totally. You could just feel the passion from both sides.
Okay, you ready for a change of pace? Because we're going from the rugby pitch to, well, the water, actually. The New Zealand Paddle Ferns, world champs.
Canoe polo. Now, there's a sport you don't hear about every day. They absolutely smashed it, though, eh? Italy didn't stand a chance in that final.
Domination. For those who haven't seen it, picture like water polo, but in kayaks with paddles.
It's as wild as it sounds. Amazing skills, teamwork, a little bit of luck.
And a whole lot of guts, I'd say.
That, too.
Okay, last but certainly not least, we got to talk about Hayden Wilde, capping off this incredible week with a win in Spain. Triathlon, no less.
And not just any win, right? He was dominant. Wilde's been killing it all season, but that final leg, he turned on the Jets. What a way to finish the year.
I know, right? He's definitely one to watch, that's for sure. And, it's funny, thinking about triathlon, it's almost like this whole weekend in New Zealand sports all rolled into one. You've got the individual skill, the mental toughness, the strategy. It's like, that feeling, that pure Kiwi, summer vibe, sun, good times, nothing can stop us. It's like someone bottled that up and gave it to all the athletes.
It really is remarkable when you think about it. This wasn't just, oh, New Zealand did well this weekend. This was like a proclamation, a sign that, yeah, this little country at the bottom of the world, we breed winners across the board.
Totally. And we've barely even scratched the surface here. Think about all the other wins, the personal bests, the under-the-radar triumphs that happened that same weekend. It's mind-blowing.
Seriously. Yeah. And it makes you wonder, right? What is it? Obviously, we got the landscape, the natural beauty, encourages people to get out there, be active. But there's something more, isn't there?
It's in the culture, I reckon. From day one, Kiwis are raised on sport. It's in the communities, the schools. It's just everywhere.
Exactly. And it creates this, self-fulfilling prophecy almost. You grew up surrounded by these legendary athletes, these stories of, punching above our weight. You start to think, well, hey, maybe I could do that too.
And that belief, it's contagious. You see it in how these athletes support each other. Different sports, different disciplines, doesn't matter. There's this shared understanding, this respect.
It's like they all know what it takes to get to that level, the dedication, the sacrifices, and even though they're competing, there's this camaraderie. It's pretty special, actually.
It really is. And I think, as amazing as all these wins are, they're really just a symbol, a reminder of what's possible, not just in sport, but in life. That drive to push yourself, to never give up. It's inspiring, really.
Totally. And maybe that's the biggest lesson here. Whether you're in New Zealand or anywhere in the world, whatever you're passionate about, a little bit of that Kiwi spirit, that can-do attitude, it can take you a long way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive into what was truly an epic weekend for New Zealand sport. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And until next time.
Kia kaha.
Kia kaha.